Good evening, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Yes, just got home from work a little while ago, and I am live tonight to talk about the eighth graders. The eighth graders. And the eighth grade, eighth grade is all girls, by the way, and they're an interesting dynamic. And so I'm going to be showing you some photos, some other things that I finally thought about taking some pictures of, and all of that. So I am excited to talk about the game today, which is progressing fairly quickly. And for those that are just coming in and joining, just to give you a little update for the eighth graders, I am running the Fey Sisters Fate, which I think is a pretty solid. It's a pretty solid adventure from Goodman Games. Chris Boyle is the author. Links will be down below if you're interested in the adventure. There's also a great compilation of these kinds of adventures. So, hey, there we go. Hello, hello, hello. Let's get rid of that real quick. What's up? Excited to hear how your game is going. Good. Well, that's what I'm going to talk about tonight there, Mark's Genre Mixer. We're going to talk about that tonight, how the games are going. They are progressing fairly well, and I am learning and I'll get into this. There'll be a whole video on this, but one of the key things I'm learning is about, because I schedule this for 4 weeks. 4 weeks might actually be too long. 3 weeks might be better. Because, 4 weeks is good. I mean, it can be between 3 and 4 weeks, but I'm noticing some things with these are middle school students as well. So I think I keep that in mind as part of my process here. And for those that are also wondering, I am using Tiny Dungeons as my, let's see here, show you this. Yeah, I'm using Tiny Dungeons as my system, not using 5e. I'm using Tiny Dungeons, which is a 2d6, and the 2d6 is working really well. I have to say, there's and not that D20 is not simple. I mean, it's a D20 plus whatever, right? But what I feel like the students have gravitated to in this sense is just the easy. They know that advantage and disadvantage, add a dice, lose a dice. I haven't seen any students have had no complication with the system, right? They don't go, oh, well, do I do this or that? They're fine. They're just as fine as if I would have run 5e. And so, and now will I use 5e in another instance? Yeah, I'll probably use that at another club. And they'll be different and that'll be fine. And I'll teach that the way I've, taught this. But like I said, for me, Tiny Dungeons is something I just wanted to try. I just said, well, I'm open. Where else am I going to try this system? Right. Could I do solo? Yeah. I'm thinking about doing some solo videos, but for these students, for me, Tiny Dungeons was a great opportunity to run a system I had never run before with students who have never played a role-playing game before, and I find it to be very fruitful in that regard. So I thought I'd give you a quick look here. I know people are going to be jumping in and hanging out, and appreciate you being here, but I thought I'd show you just behind my screen here what I have. Let's see, is this it? Nope, that's not it. No, that's not it. This is it. So as you can see here, I have all the important things. How do you like those are my giant mosquitoes. I wish I had some, I think they're sturges, right? Giant mosquitoes, that's what we call sturges, I guess, for the most part, when we're trying to describe something. But these are my giant mosquitoes that I had to draw because I needed them. I did end that. That was the first battle. When they were walking through the woods, and they are going down the riverbed that is predominantly dried up. I tell them, listen, bugs are getting bad. You start slapping your, arms and everything because now there's mosquitoes, and these basically foot-long mosquitoes start attacking them, and so they found that to be annoying. As you can see here too, we have I had some candy which we used kind of at maybe the halfway point. Give them a little sugar rush. Got my markers over here, got my D6s right there, and some extra minis. And as you can see here, I only need for this particular table, and I don't know why I've never done this before, right? This screen, I only have halfway open. So I just need two sides and that they can see the other side, and it's, fine and dandy. So, but that's my view of the adventures right here, of course, down below. And I got all my little knickknacks and whatnots and bottle caps that I give as hero points and all that kind of good stuff. And so we started the adventure, like I said, fighting mosquitoes. They decided they're going to go on. I find it that I have to, I don't know what they would do. If one of them says, and somebody has said this, one of the kids said this, well, we'll just go back. I said, well, that kind of defeats the adventure. What exactly are you going to do? You're going to go back to the city for what? You still have a mission to be on. You still have something, you need to do here. And so you have to almost convince them to stay on mission. Otherwise they'll go back, which now you could say, is that a indicator of a generation that says, this is too hard? Maybe you could, I don't know. But it's not just happening in that adventure. It's happening with the sixth graders too. And one of the young men said, well, I think we're just going to go back. I said, you're going to go back. I said, it's 2 miles to where you were with the spider and 4 more miles or a lot more. The things you're going to run into in the woods may not be so great. You're going to face some challenges going back. So I have to remind them all the time that going back is not the easiest thing you can do. Going back to the city or to the town, you're still going to have to travel, and you're still going to have these encounters that are going to come up. That they can't just leave as disappear and nothing happen. That you're going to have to travel back, and there are going to be encounters and other things that you maybe don't want. But you are on mission, and you're going to go into the next phase. Now, tomorrow, I've changed my time with students. So 6th graders I'm going to deal with tomorrow. I'm trying to wrap this up fairly quickly because I'm sensing that 3 weeks to 4 weeks is the tipping point for this particular group, right? If it's one thing, if you are a club that purposely stays after school to do a D&D club, let's say. It's another thing when you are an activity as part of an aftercare system that if I'm just playing D&D with a bunch of kids, well, these kids are getting picked up at various times, right? They're getting picked up. If I start at 3:30, there's a kid that's getting picked up at 4. There's somebody getting picked up maybe at 4:20. Somebody's getting picked up at 4:45, right? And I say if I at least have 2 kids there, we're doing pretty good. I'll run with 2 kids until I get to a stopping point. And so today was interesting because I had all 4 kids plus one. I had all 3 kids that we usually have. Sorry. We had 2 of the regular kids, 1 that was brand new, and a 6th grade girl who joined in, who was playing in my 6th grade game. So she knows the system, which I think's fun. Having her there playing another character that she wants to play. So, and so we start off, we do a recap. I have somebody do the recap. I say that's why we write notes in our Quester's journal, so that you can, be able to remember certain things about what you're looking at. And I say, give us a little recap. And it was about as bare bones as could be. It's like, okay, perfect, great. And you really have to move things along. They'll meander a lot. They'll just be like, and you got to oh, let's go. So I will move the figures. I will do some things to keep that ball rolling. Once again, it's different when there are kids who, once again, signed up for a D&D club, and they signed up for this, but it's an activity as part of another club. So it's not necessarily, their jam. They're doing well at it. There's 2 of them at least that I think are the girls, at least of the 8th grade girls, are enjoying themselves, having fun. And I think you have to read, you have to sometimes read between the lines, because sometimes, you're not going to, I'm just some strange dude running a game after school at a Boys and Girls Club in a middle school. So I have to keep my, my expectations low in the sense of, hey, I'm not going to try to make everybody enjoy themselves. I'm not going to try to make everybody. This is a free will activity. If you're on your phone, which some of them were, by the way, that's another thing. I'm noticing that a couple of the girls were on their phones a little bit more than before. So now I've got to go back and say, hey, guys, this is going to be our last time together before we have our celebration feast, what I call the feast, where I'll bring pizzas, things like that. We'll talk about the game. We'll say, what was your favorite part? We'll have a few drinks. We'll just, a few sodas or whatever, and say, okay, we're going to enjoy the moment. We're going to enjoy the victories won. And so I'm trying to wrap things up. So you got kids on phones, which there's all various reasons. I don't take it as they're disinterested in the game. I think they just have other things going on in their life. So at the next session, I'll say, hey, guys, this is the last session. I really need you to dial in. Can you help me? Right? Because I think this is going to be a big battle. I think this is going to be a big deal. And you guys want to be present for this. Because I want your characters to have survived so far. I would hate for your guys to lose the characters and do whatever, right? So there's there's working through that process. The next thing for the 8th grade girls, talking about today's session, we then went on a fair amount of role play, I think, went okay. It's funny, the 6th graders do this better. I don't know if I have a reason why, but the 6th graders are better role players than the 8th graders. Maybe because some of them had a little bit of experience or background. Maybe the 8th graders don't have as much of that. You try to encourage that. And happy Monday to you, sir. Happy Monday. So I don't know. I just think that the 6th graders are better role players. 8th graders have to need some help. I have to put them, because they will be talking to me. And I'm saying, no, don't talk to me. Tell them. There's your party right there. There's your fellow adventurers. Tell them what you want. Tell them you want to come here. Tell them you need help. Tell them, right? So I have to keep redirecting the focus of the role play in that context to be able to help them, get through whatever they're getting through. So the next thing is they found a naiad, which is like a little fairy sprite, fey, dryad-ish type of being, and found her passed out. And one of the new young lady said, I would like to help her. Well, how would you like to do that? Well, I thought my character could just do that. Well, you might be able to do that, but, and I don't know if she had healing. She may have that on the back of her card that I did not see. I said, well, do you have anything you could bandage her with or those type of things? Well, she did. So she thought of a few things, and you're encouraging them to think, for themselves and to come up with ideas as to why their character would be able to heal something. So she did. She came up with that, bandage and so forth. And so she winds up bandaging up the dryad. And she is now nervous and concerned for her friends, which are out in the woods. The last time she saw them, they were up a tree being attacked by a big beast of some kind, right? I tell them. And so they go into the woods, and this is that scene here. I'll show you I think this is it. Yeah. So there they are, and there they are looking at the bear. And there's the naiads in the tree. And by the way, all the trees are brown, I told them, because the river's dried up and all the trees are dying because there's no water, helping to flourish them. And so as you can see, there's 4 of them there. Now, 2 of them had been out here, not involved at all until it came to a point. Once again, easily distracted. They're easily distracted. And that's okay. Like I said, I'm taking them at face value. I'm taking them for what they're willing to give in this type of scenario. I'm not there, like I said, to control the thing. I'm here to invite them into adventure and at the level at which they wish to do it. So it gets, and there's some funny moments in this situation. One young lady says, the new person says, I want to climb the tree, and I want to jump down on the bear. And I had offered a suggestion of that maybe, and she says, yes, I want to do that. So I said, go ahead and roll. She rolled, and she wound up laying flat on her face, right in front of the bear. And the bear is already taking shots. The bear is clawing at them and And I make them roll every so often to see whether they notice that the bear is hurt. Well, finally they say the bear is hurt, and they work together. They did very well, and I congratulated and affirmed them in this, because one of the girls took food, had tried before, but now she's doing it again. And now the other person says, I'm going to go and I'm going to try to bandage his leg because it had been caught in a trap or something like that, I said. And anyway, between the two of them, they rolled, they did fine. They bandaged up the bear because the bear was just, taking the help, and wound up just sort of wandering off after that. Its pain had been eased, and it is, going off about as well as it could be done. And they seem to be happy about that. They seem to be pleased about that. And so after that, we wound up, in my mind, I know where we're going. We did this for about an hour. Normally we go an hour and 15, maybe an hour and a half. But this sounded like a very good stopping point. So I said, okay, we're on to the next thing. You guys continue to move up the river, and you come to a dirt dam, not very well made. And they get over there, and there are traps. So the traps have been set because they don't want, the enemy in this, by the way, if you're not familiar, is the grung, which are frog creatures. And so they go over there. They don't, of course, think about traps. They go over there, and they wound up, one of them the new girl gets caught in a trap and is slung into the air. Now they're trying to get her down. And one of the other, the druidish person winds up, going over to try to help. And I said, listen, look, she's high up in the air, that if you cut her off of there, she's going to fall. She's going to fall and hurt herself, and she's not going to be happy with you probably. So she got assistance from the other player and said, hey, will you catch her? So they stood over there. And I think these are all great images. I think these are very simple images that these kids understand of somebody in a tree. Got to cut down the person out of the tree. Got to have somebody to catch them, right? So the girl who was catching, I made her roll 2d6, and you only need a 5 or a 6 to accomplish this. She did not. So she wound up not catching her. And she lands. I made it to where she didn't just land like in a movie. The deal would be that somebody holds out their hands, right? And they think they're in the right place, but the body, the person falls behind them or just out of reach in front of them. So I didn't do that, but it was funny enough that the young girl got up and put the other girl in a headlock, friendly headlock. It wasn't like, hey, gonna get violent here, but just to say, hey, you missed me. Why did you drop me like this? And anyway, it wound up where I said, well, you kind of fell into her, and I didn't want to do points of damage. It just seemed, silly to do that. So he said, well, you caught her, kind of, not really great. And so there was the traps there. So they know that there was that dirt dam there. And I think the girl who went to go investigate was going to tear it apart and was going to use the wood or something like that to make an encampment, I think, which was a good idea. And when they have good ideas, you got to tell them, that's a great idea. Go with that, right? And then the last thing I had them do is I had them go spy out a little further. And this is where the big battle's going to go. Down the river, there's the dirt dam, but then there's a much better, more well-constructed dam. And down there, that's where the frog people, the grung, are. And there's also, hold on one second, let me grab this real quick. And this is why I bought this, the Froghemoth. Because on there this is going to be the big bad evil guy who is in charge of the grung. Now, I showed them a smaller frog that was on top of the dam barking orders. But really, in the reality is, this is what's behind the dam. This and probably a giant, what's I think in the adventure is called a runt ogre. But I think I'm just going to go with this. Gonna leave the ogre out of it. And but I'm gonna paint this bad boy up, and they're gonna have some fun with that. But that's what they're gonna do. Let me see what's how chat's here doing here. Sounds like fun. All you can hope for is get a few that are engaged. Think the system you chose was wise based on the time constraints and brand new players. Yes, thank you, Mark. Once again, we'll test it, and we'll see. We'll see in the other where this goes. I will test these systems. I will test, 2D6. I'll test 5e. I'll test, Castles and Crusades. I'll test, some other, Professor Dungeon Master's system. What is it called? What is Professor Dungeon Master systems called? I have it here. I just don't want to turn around and get it. Anyway, I might use that, which I already used that in another school, and that worked out okay. That worked out fine. Let's see what else is here. Hey, it's the K5K. Good to listen to your tales from after school. Yes, we call these the Tiny Dungeon Diaries. The Tiny Dungeon Diaries. The naivety of players is refreshing after after playing for so long. Yeah. The naivety of what you can and what you can't do. Like, once again, they've played now 3 times, 2 times. The next one will be the 3rd time. But I'll show you. There's something interesting that happened that tells me I'm making progress here, and I'll share with you in just a second. But yeah, I like these tales of newbies that have never done anything like this before. Froghemoth, I think the kids. Yeah, I agree. That's why I kind of went with that, because I thought it's just disturbing enough and ugly enough and oh my gosh enough that they'll like that. Yes, thank you, Deathbringer. So I've used Deathbringer, may use it again. So yeah, I like trying new systems just to see how they work. I'm always thinking though, in my mind, at least as far as the D20 goes. You tell me, chat, if I don't use D20, is it still D&D? Is it still, does it still evoke the D&D that we know and love? Because if you're not using a D20, because I think these kids are going to go then, they're going to say they're playing Dungeons & Dragons, which they are, technically, role-playing game, fantasy, they're just using 2D6. But I always think too they're going to be, they're going to be some kind of, in my mind, some kind of disadvantage. But we use 2D6 in our game, which is other systems use that. But I feel like I feel like I'm shorting them somehow by not letting them use a D20. But that's my problem, not your problem. But you tell me, is it still D&D if you're not using a D20? And by the way, all of you that are here, thank you for being here. Be sure click the thumbs up button, and if you're here, and that tells me you like the video, of course, and you want more of them like that, and you enjoy the content. I will say this: I am at 1,919, something like that. So if you know people who are not subscribed to the channel, I'd love to reach 2,000 by the end of the year. I mean, that's a lofty goal. You're talking about 900 subscribers. That's kind of ridiculous. I know that's like way out there. I would like to get as close to 2,000 as possible. So that would be fine and dandy. If you can help with that. Share a video, mention my name in a tweet, in a post, whatever. I'd say anything that doesn't use D20 isn't actually D&D. It's fantasy role-playing, so potatoes, tomatoes, lots of people wouldn't mind. Correct. Right. I think that's fair. Like I said, I feel like I'm cheating them a little bit, but I think they're getting, once again, you get a 6. They're equally as excited. By the way, the girl who dropped, the girl who was coming out of the tree, 2 1s. It evoked the same amount of excitement as if you had rolled a 1 or a D20. When they rolled two 6s, equal excitement, as if somebody had rolled a D20, rolled a 20 on a D20. Equal amount of shock and awe when you rolled double 1s, because the girl who wrote it knew what was about to happen. She saw it. She had rolled that in another game and saw that. Something, because I said, if you roll double sixes, something epic happens. It's awesome. If you roll double ones, usually something bad happens. So, and in this case, it wasn't super bad, but it was what it was. So, it still evokes the same magic in the sense of the 1 and the 20, except it's a 6 and a 1 on a D6. So that same passion was there for that, I felt. So they went and they snuck up on the newish dam. And I didn't want to get into the weeds. These kids are good, but you can just tell the way they're approaching the game that they're not in the weeds like we get in the weeds. They're not. These guys are not strategists. Sixth graders are a little bit more strategy. I would say a little bit more strategy oriented. Eighth grade girls, and then you have 2 sixth grade girls and 2 sixth grade guys. The sixth graders collectively more like strategists. Eighth grade girls, not strategists. They want to fight. That is it. It's like, look, what do you want to do? Fight. That's the answer. What do you want to do in this situation? There's a teddy bear sitting there smiling at you. What's your response? Fight. We're fighting it right now. We're killing it with fire. That seems to be their response, which I find very humorous at times. That's it. They're gonna fight things, and maybe because they want to roll dice, which I don't knock them for that. You want to roll dice, if that's your choice. Just remember, things eventually, what goes around comes around, kind of a thing, right? So they go and they spy on the better dam that's being built. The frog's on top. The grungs are around. This guy's hiding. I haven't revealed him yet. So that's going to be the major fight next week. That they're going to get as much fighting as they want. They're going to have to figure out how to free the prisoners. They're going to have to take out the grung, the boss frog at top, and then they're going to have to deal with this thing. All of that being done, I think that it will be resolved. I hope it will be resolved quickly, because I think they're done. I think they've done, in their minds, at least I can tell on their face or in how they're playing the game, 3 weeks for them might be enough. You get a different group of kids, 4 weeks might be great. Get another group of kids, 5 weeks, right? So I am adjusting the knobs and the levers to adjust this accordingly. Hey Paul, fighting girls with fire, love it. Yeah, they love attacking things. They want to fight. They want to fight things, man. I'm like, okay, let's go. We're fighting bears, but then you have to but then when you get them to realize that, okay, there's another situation happening here, right? That's the teachability part of this, right? To recognize how to read a room, basically. The bear is hurt. If you keep attacking it, it's just going to get more and more angry. Maybe you want to help the bear. Maybe you don't want to help the bear, right? You're trying to evoke empathy. You're trying to evoke compassion, not fighting all the time, although that's fighting's fun. I just think I'm trying to help them. Make at least have an educated, knowledge to make a choice. So once I tell them, once they notice, they roll, notice the bear's wounded. Some of them changed. Some of them maybe wanted to still have a fight, but it worked out. I thought it was good that way. Now here's where they've noticed all the things they've noticed. They've snuck up and they've seen what they've seen. I've shown them enough. And here's where I think I've made progress, or where I should say where they have made progress in understanding the game. In the first scenario they came upon, when they met the dryad at the tree, and the 3 people were charmed by the dryad, the one young lady asked me and says, "Hey, are these guys I want to say, I don't. She didn't say mesmerized. Are these guys under a spell, or because I remember that these other guys were, and that showed me, first of all, that she was listening, but also when you can take a piece of information from one part of the adventure, at least for this age group, take a piece from one part of the information to another part of the information, to another scenario, and say, oh, maybe I should ask this question. I think that's progress. I think that's really a good sense of understanding what you're trying to do. It's like reading chapter 3 in math and learning a principle that now applies in chapter 5. Took you 2 chapters to get there, but now you understand a principle. You go back, oh, that's something I learned over here. And so, but I told her, I said, that is a great observation, because you're recognizing that maybe these people, because there's 3 of them they're in a chain gang formation. So they're all chained together working on this thing, and it's getting into darkness. And by the way, the gift that I gave them a gift. I gave them the gift of the moonstone, which the naiads gave them for rescuing them. And, and these moonstones, I said, well, they will allow you to attack twice when the moon is visible. So you can attack twice per turn. That's the gift they gave them. When you're fighting at night and the moon is visible, you can have 2 attacks, which is going to play out, I think, because they're going to attack at night, more than likely. More than likely, the moon will be out. Maybe there'll be clouds. Maybe at some point, clouds are going by. It's like, oh, we're going to roll, see if the clouds are there. The clouds are gone. You get 2 attacks, right? So we'll go back and forth with that. But we will probably spend the entire session in this fight. And I will have to make it pay off that they're going to destroy the dam. The water's going to go down, and they're going to solve that issue. They're going to, deliver the 3 people back to the town, and everything will be fine. I have to figure out how to do that in probably an hour and 15 minutes. I think we can do it, though. We can shorten it just a little bit, because, like I said, the following week, I want to wrap things up and, let them, celebrate and do that, because I think we're at that point. Hello, Chubby Funster. Just arrived and would like to learn more about math. Oh, good. This is not the math channel, though. I am horrible at math. I can count math rocks. That's about it. I can count money. But other than that, not so much. Not the math guy. But yeah, I think that's the key there. That's the key that I walked away with today, that there's one of them that understood what happened in a previous part of the adventure and is now bringing that knowledge with them. So I'd say that's good progress. I think the fight, if you didn't see it, I'll show you the frog hemoth that will be severely, in this game in Tiny Dungeons. I think you have this creature here will probably have 8 hit points. So it's going to take maybe more damage. It'll require more hits and so forth. So 8 to 10, because their weapons, light weapons will do 1 point. Heavy weapons will do 2 points. But if you get 2 attacks per turn, what can you ask for? You have girls who want to fight things. Now they're going to get to fight twice. And this thing's going to get to fight probably, 1, 2, at least 2, maybe 3, 4. I don't know. It's got 4 tentacles, so we'll see. So these are 3 or 4 week adventures. Yes, this is my goal, is to do 3 to 4 week adventures. But once again, I am feeling it out. Once again, and I think I said this earlier, Tim. I don't think you were here though. If you're doing a sign up at a game store versus you're telling people, look, this is going to last amount of time. You're paying for this, whatever it is. When you're running a club, running a game for an after school program where kids are always getting picked up at various times, and the investment level's different than if you're going to a game store per se, because you're trying something out. These kids are just experimenting. They're not gamers. They have virtually no experience, most of them. So I am feeling out the fact that 3 weeks might be the deal. 3 weeks might be the at least for after school program. This particular after school program might be the limit I have for attention and for investment from them. That's what I feel. That's what I'm sensing around the table. Because I want them, they always say leave the stage, right? Always leave them wanting more. It's kind of what I want. I don't want to, beat it into the ground and now this is taking too long and all those kind of things. So I would like to have it wrapped up. Let's see. Hey, Cave. Hey, folks, I hear. I like hearing Paul's experience with younger players. My son is in the same bracket, totally different than playing with adults. Yeah. It's a different ball game, different world out there in the old middle school playground. But these kids are good kids. So let me just end on this. Good kids learning something that is that I think they're getting some value from. I want to say, too, I know that Glacier's in here. Vance is in here. Vance is going to help me out with something. In fact, I will check the email he sent me. And Vance has donated to me some money from Walmart, has sent me a gift card, because here's what I'm going to do. As I do this, and I am one who does not necessarily give away his miniatures. I have a problem, right? The ones that I paint, right? Like, let's see. No, I didn't paint that one. Let me see. What did I paint? Okay. No, did I paint? Yes, I painted this one, I think. Did I? I don't think I painted that. Nope, I didn't paint that one. The ones that I paint, why can't I find one that okay, I'll use this. Okay. So if I paint it, like this is not top notch. This is table ready, right? This is something you can look at from a distance and go, ooh. That's all I want. I'm not trying to win a golden demon here by painting figures, but I'm going to be Matt Sherman is sending me dice. He says, Paul, here's some dice. I'm cleaning out my collection. I'm getting dice from him in the mail. The gift card that Vance is giving me is going towards paint. Because I'm going to do art is a part of the Boys and Girls programming. So I'm going to get, based on the audience, which is predominantly girls, at least in my one club, they can pick what they want. But I'll for an art class, I'll say paint this miniature, and I'm going to be able to buy, because Vance's generosity. I'll be able to go ahead and get paints from Walmart, and they're just your basic acrylic paints. And they're going to teach them how to paint minis to the best of my ability, right? I mean, once again, we're not being professionals here. We're just saying, look, table ready miniatures. And once again, these are for non-gamer people. So when they paint it, it'll be symbolic. It'll be a token symbol thing. It could be just something fun. They'll be predominantly female figures, more than likely. I'll have some vast majority of female figures and some guy figures for the guys that are there. And maybe have some different kinds of creatures. Like I have some Aarakocra over there. I may do some fun anthropomorphic type creatures they can choose from as well. So my goal is, if anybody knows anybody in the figures biz that maybe they would like to either donate or discount, something like that, I would like to get some figures. I will do them at various clubs. There's 1, 2, at least 3 clubs I can do that at. And so you're talking about 8, 10, 20, 8, 10, 30. So overall, at one time, I'm not going to do them all the same day. So 30 figs, right? And I'm going to start giving mine away because, quite frankly, I just have to. I have a lot of them. And so if you play that character you play, just take it home. That's yours. Even though I painted it. And like I said, I have my... because I couldn't before, right? If I can find some more, then I'm not... But, you keep buying minis. It gets to be a habit. So between Matt Sherman donating his dice, Vance offering for the paints, I do need a connection with miniatures. So if anybody knows anybody in the biz who would like to donate to the Boys and Girls Club, I am down for it. What is this? What is Vance's secret identity in this chat? Here. Cast Illusion. Form Glacier. There we go. Checks Wall of Ice for stats. There we go. So anyway, that's kind of the progress I'm making. I will do, like I said, maybe some other little things, from painting minis to running games to making dungeons to, for those super interested, writing an adventure of some kind, something like that. So anyway, but that's kind of my progress I'm making towards, the new year. But before the end of the year, I still may do a one-shot just with some kids who want to try it out, and then maybe put them on 3 weeks, do a 3-week adventure. Hey, if you like this, would you like to do it again? And then just test it out. So then I'm investing maybe 4 weeks in the whole process. If you want to add in that, the painting their mini, that'll be a separate project, I think. I'll probably paint minis first, then we'll do a one-shot, then we'll do the 3-week adventure, and then we'll wrap it up. So we'll kind of do that's. I'm working out the systems. I'm working it out based on the club time and all that. Because he's kind of slow. Well, we didn't say that, Vance. We didn't say that. Chubby maybe did. Chubby did. All right. I think that's it for tonight. I think I have been on here long enough. But I wanted to share the progress we're making, what I'm seeing young people pick up from the game, what I'm seeing them learn about the game. And once again, they all have journals. There's going to be a lot of signing of journals, signing the backs, almost like a camp, like when you go to camp and you sign somebody's end of the week booklet kind of a thing, yearbook type thing, like, hey, fun playing with you. Your character was cool. That funny moment when you did this, that kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to the feasting part of that, so that kids can enjoy it. Okay. Says, I can only admire your contributions to make sure the next generation of gamers are giving a good grounding in which much fun this hobby is. Most definitely, sir. I am doing my best to let them know that this is a fun game, that role-playing is fun, D&D is fun. You can also learn a thing or two. You can also develop some skills. You can also meet new friends. You also can share in the adventure. When are you going to have this sweatshop start churning out product for sale? Are we still in the venture capital? Yes, we are. We're in round 1, Chubby, if you're looking to get in on this. You can get in on the ground floor, as they say. So feel free to let me know how much you're willing to put up in these early rounds of investing. So appreciate your feedback. All right, but that's it. By the way, if you're watching this in the future, thank you for watching. If you're not a subscriber, be sure to subscribe. If you like these videos, be sure to share them with somebody. And hey, like I said, would love to get as close to 2,000 by the end of the year. That'd be a lot of fun to do, but I enjoy sharing with you guys. I enjoy sharing with you the progress, the process of gaming and teaching young people how to play. Once again, my way is not perfect. It is not gospel. It is not law. It is simply my way. It is simply the way I do it. This is simply the way I find being able to do it the most fun, the most fruitful, the most advantageous for kids to latch onto something. And I do believe that out of this group, there's going to be a lot of kids who go on to play and will find ways to play. So, yes, thank you. That's right. Angel investors right now. Exactly, Tim. All right. That's it for tonight, everybody. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for being a part. And I will catch you guys tomorrow night, because I'll talk about 6th graders, and we'll talk about how well they role played and how well maybe they wanted to run away from the adventure altogether. But that's it for tonight, everybody. Enjoy your evening. We'll see you then. Bye.